To begin today's project, you will want to die cut or use a template to create 24 little matchboxes. Now I've used the Stampin' Up! Matchbox die, which makes this so much easier. It's already cut and scored, and what I'm going to do to make each box is just crease each score line with my bone folder. You'll see the little diagonal perforated lines as I'm doing this, and how magical they'll be in the final result. Now on the end tabs, you're actually going to score the teeny weeny little tabs on the end in the opposite direction from the box, and you'll see why shortly. This is the magic that holds these little boxes together with no glue. It's just these little folded backwards tabs on the end. I'm going to crease down these little lines just a bit. Sometimes on the skinny ones you have to do it more than once, and set that aside. Now the die also comes with a sleeve for each matchbox, and I'm going to do the same thing, just crease the lines crisply with my bone folder. I'm using textured cardstock, and it's more textured on one side, so I'm going to have that side face out, and that's how I've folded them. Now to make the box, you just fold in the outside edges first and lift those up. Those become the sides of the box. Fold the little diagonal flaps in, and now that end flap goes down into the corners and holds the box together like magic. No glue. That's what I love about these little boxes. Now when I'm done, I just take my bone folder and take the point and just make sure that that little flap is all the way against the edge of the box, and that makes it stick together and makes a neater look to the inside of your matchbox. To put the sleeve on, now you want to make sure that you take the short side, and I just line it up with the left hand side of my box, and I fold the longer flap over that. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Tombow Multi on the short flap, and just be sure you never glue the sleeve to the box, because you need the box to slide in and out of the sleeve. So you're just gluing one flap of the sleeve to the other. Now just be very careful when doing this that your edges are perfectly lined up, because since we're building a dresser, every edge needs to be exactly square. And now your little box slides out and you're all ready for the next step. Now I'm going to decorate the front of each drawer with a little slip of decorative paper. This is 1 3/4 inch by 1/2 inch, and I'm using some paper from Lost and Found. This is a great project to use up your hoarded 12 by 12 paper. I've had this paper for years, and I loved it so much I had to find a project worthy of it. And this is it. So now I'm going to take my 1/8 inch circle punch and just punch a hole in the front and add a little bit of hardware for the drawer. This is a hitch fastener. It's in the Tim Holtz hardware line. Comes in 2 pieces. It has a little screw. And you'll put that on the inside of the drawer facing out, and then you just put the hardware on and screw it down, and it gives it a really nice, real, authentic furniture look, which I think is adorable. So now I'll slide my box back in, and that's one, and you just want to repeat that 24 times. So here I have 2 of them, and I glued the liners together. And the most important thing, don't worry about where the drawers are, but the edges have to be lined up perfectly, because this is what's going to make your dresser very square and tidy. So what I do is I just put glue. Make sure you go all the way to the edge with the glue, because that'll help you get those edges lined up. And then I just stick my top little matchbox on. And again, try to be precise about this. Normally I don't make things that are this precise, but this one, it's important. And now you have a little stack of 3. And you will need a bunch of these little stacks of 3. Actually, you're going to need 8 stacks of 3, so just assemble all of those. And then there'll be 2 sections to the dresser that we'll put together. So here's one of my stacks, and I'm going to show you how 4 stacks make each layer of the dresser. On one side you have drawers facing out, and on one side you have drawers facing to the side, and you repeat that all the way around the dresser. So you can see I have drawer side, and then when I put my last one there, with the little drawers facing the side of the other one, you'll see that they have a little square hole in the middle. Now here is the section that I've already done. So I put all my drawers together and I taped the tops of them after I put glue on them just to hold it steady while the glue dried and keep that shape. And I've mounted it to a piece of lightweight chipboard that I've covered with the same paper. And around the edges I used a gold acrylic dabber just to cover up that white edge. You don't have to do that, but I thought it looked kind of cool. The chipboard I used was just the back of some Stampin' Up! Cardstock, that little piece of cardboard that comes in. Makes a perfect weight. So now to make the second layer, you're going to reverse what you did on the bottom layer. So wherever you see a side, you'll put dresser drawers on top. And then wherever you see dresser drawers, you'll put a side on top. So they just alternate all the way around. Again, I'm just going to put glue all over my base layer. And be pretty generous with the glue on this layer. One thing you want is you want to be able to slide it around a little bit to get it in the perfect position. And the other thing is you don't want it to dry before you get all your little dressers on there, because it does take a little bit of time in adjusting. So I'll just start by putting some drawer fronts on top of one of the sides. And I'm going to sort of hold that in place while I add the second one. And squish those up together, flip it around, and don't worry about where the drawers are at this point, if they're sticking out or sticking in. That will all get adjusted after you get this part settled. And then again, you're going to have a little space in the middle after you're done, just a little square. I'm going to tape the tops just to help them again stay together while they dry. Make sure they don't move. I tend to kind of handle my projects and mess with them a little bit while they're drying, and that usually results in a disaster. So the tape here really helps me keep it together while I'm unable to resist the urge to paw at it. And you'll see how neatly these line up once you have them all together. And you don't really have to worry about what kind of tape you're using here. It's just an intermediate step because we're going to put a top on it. And the glue from the top part is going to permanently hold it all together. So this doesn't have to be anything fancy. So there you go. Now they're all lined up. And you have your alternating pattern. And we're almost ready to finish this little gift. Now I kind of, when I'm getting ready to put the top part on, I line it up on my grid paper a little bit so that the measurements are a little easier to see. Now for this part, you're going to take a 2.5 by 2.5 inch piece of decorative paper, and we're just going to make the sides of the box a little bit prettier. Right now you're seeing just the sides of the drawers, and you could leave it like that, but I thought it would be nicer to have a little decorative panel where you see each one of those. So I'm using some coordinated paper, which is also from Lost and Found, but with a different pattern because I used kind of a busy pattern for the drawers, and I wanted something a little bit softer but with all the same colors in it. So I picked this rose pattern. It has a real faint text in the background that I just think is so beautiful. And then the glitter on some of the little rosebuds matches the pink spotty paper. Now just repeat this application all the way around your box. I'm going to speed this up just a little bit. Just line these up. Real simple. Alternate them a little bit if you like. Or you can even use stamped images here and other little accents. I've done this project before where I put a little stamped Christmas image in each one of these little open spaces, and that's really cute too. But this project has minimal stamping on it, and I'm using up my paper. So there you go. Those are all done, and I think they are lovely. Just press them down a little bit. You can see all four sides are now even prettier than they were. So now it's time to do the top of the project. And I did the same thing. I took a 6x6 piece of that backer board from some Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper, covered it on both sides with paper that matches the bottom, and then I decorated the top. So get your glue all over the top and around the edges. And now we're going to try to center it. You have to do this just a little bit blind. We're going to center it on top. I used the Stampin' Up! Labels framelit to cut myself a matching piece of paper for the top. And then I just stamped a little greeting in soft suede on a pennant for the top, and I kind of curled it with my bone folder to make it 3D, and added some Mayart's pink silk ribbon, and I think it is just so feminine and beautiful. I can't wait to give somebody this awesome gift. So you want to look at it from all sides and make sure the top is even. It's easy to get the bottom even. It's a little bit more of a challenge to get the top even. So what I do is I actually flip it upside down. Oops, the drawer fell out. And then it's easier to see that you can wiggle the drawers so that they're perfectly centered on there. And then you can flip it again, and it is ready to put little gifts in and give to a special friend.